Big injury news in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is going to miss the next 2 weeks with a quad strain, at least the next 2 weeks. And if it were to be exactly 2 weeks, that would be 4 games that she is going to miss at minimum.
And I have to say that I did notice in the Liberty game, Caitlin Clark's shots were all very short. So it was showing that she wasn't getting off, and she was having a difficult time making those threes, and a lot of explosiveness from those 3-point shots does come from your legs.
This is actually an injury that was separate from the quad tightness issue, as Caitlin Clark described it earlier in the preseason, that she dealt with before. So it's a little bit of interesting situation given that it was the same leg, but the team is saying it is actually a new injury.
That was the end of the NBA's golden age in an instant. Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest star and the youngster who is making history in real time, took a brutal hit that shocked fans and doctors alike. They said it was a quad injury that would keep him out for at least 2 weeks. The talk is getting louder behind the scenes though. There are rumors going around that Clark's injury is much worse than anyone is letting on. Sources close to the situation say that some of the doctors who are helping her are now asking the WNBA to look into the calls that led to this. That's right! Medical professionals are allegedly demanding that the league finally take responsibility for the careless hits Clark has been getting all season. It wasn't just bad luck. If you didn't pay attention to the warning signs for months, let physical violence happen without being stopped, and let the team's biggest star be targeted game after game, this could be the direct result. Was this an accident, or did the league? Caitlin Clark was trying to set her up to fail? Because what we're finding out now, from ignored symptoms to wild theories and a tidal wave of fan anger, could be the start of a full-on WNBA reckoning. A blink of an eye saw it happen, but the hit sent shockwaves through the whole sports world. While making what should have been an easy drive to the basket, Caitlin Clark was hit square in the face. She took a hard hit and fell to the ground, twisting her leg under her in an odd way. After the drinks started coming in, everyone in the room fell silent. What fans were afraid of was shown in replays. Many people are calling this a dirty foul because the defense stepped in too late. Full body contact, high contact, and no desire to play the ball. Clark stayed down longer than he usually does. As soon as trainers ran over, it was clear that something was wrong. Even though the referee blew the whistle, it was already too late. Caitlin had been hit like this before, but this might have been the last straw that broke her. Within hours, the fever proved that things were really bad. Clark was hurt in his left quad and would be out for at least 2 weeks, and maybe even longer if he needs to be reevaluated. Not only did fans go crazy online when their favorite player got hurt, but also because there were clear signs that something was wrong, but no one did anything about it. But was this accident just a bad break? Or was Clark hurt before this happened? There are now rumors going around that Caitlin Clark's injury may be much worse than the WNBA is saying. These stories are not from trolls or random fans, they come from people who know what's going on. Several sources say that the doctors who checked out Clark were very worried about how much damage had already been done to her leg before the last hit. Some people even say that if she had kept playing, the injury could have gotten worse and ended her season, or even worse, put her career at risk. But it gets even stranger after this. There are rumors that medical professionals have quietly asked the WNBA to look into how often Clark has been allowed to take hard hits without getting called for fouls. Take that in. Doctors are now said to be calling the judges. That means that the league may have more than one injured player. It's possible that they are facing a full-on scandal. Take a look at the warning signs that no one paid attention to. In reality, this accident wasn't a surprise. In fact, the red lights had been on for weeks, but the league, the team, and even the fans didn't pay attention. Clark missed the Fevers' first preseason game because of tightness in his left quad, as the team put it. The leg that gave out during this game is the same one. But after a short break, she was put right back to work. Full contact, full minutes, and full demands. And something didn't feel right during those first few games. It wasn't like she was dangerous. Her long shot was not going far enough. Cam's got her on the bench at one point, putting heat packs on her leg while the game was going on. A move that no healthy player would make in the middle of a fight. Stephanie White, the coach, later said she had no idea when Clark got hurt. Afterward, the team learned that something very wrong. Since the game was over, Caitlin spoke out. Take a look at that. Clark had to let them know she was hurt. She hit it, played it off, and took hits every night while acting like everything was fine. To be honest, there has never been more pressure to do well. All of this brings up one huge question. Before that dirty foul even happened, was Caitlin Clark hurt? We're about to talk about how her body may have been pushed too far by rough play and not having enough safety. While some say it's just part of the game, anyone who has watched Caitlin Clark this season knows this wasn't a one-time hit. This has been getting worse. Clark has been the target of too much pressure since her very first A game. She gets hit on screens, grabbed off the ball, and given hard fouls that don't seem to be noticed or worse, punished. Every night she has to deal with physical abuse that is almost dangerous. Still, the refs were quiet. There were no clear calls, ejections, or real punishments. Other stars in the league who have been playing for years get whistle protection for only half as much contact, but Clark, you should be able to handle it. Even though she's a rookie, she's being treated like she hasn't earned the right to a fair defense. This is more than just basketball. It is aiming, the kind of play that wears down your body game after game until something gives. It has now. Fans aren't dumb, they can see it. Missed calls, being inconsistent, and applying different rules to different people. People are beginning to wonder why the WNBA lets their biggest star get hit every night and does nothing about it since Clark is the face of the league. But it's no longer just about the referees. The league's whole business plan is being tested as well. Let's not make it sound nice. Caitlin Clark has been around for a while. The WNBA is getting a lot of attention on primetime TV and selling out stadiums all over the country because of her. She's what keeps the league moving forward. That engine just stopped. Record numbers of people have watched Clark's games. Her shirt sells out very quickly. Tickets to see her live have been going for as much as NBA tickets. As soon as she was picked, sponsors rushed to help her. And crowds got so big that places like Baltimore and Chicago had to move their fever matches to bigger venues. But just hours after she said she was hurt, everything fell apart. Requests for refunds began to flood in. Teams that were counting on Clark to show up now have thousands of empty spots. The Chicago Sky moved their game to the huge United Center. Now they have to deal with the shame of showing a nationally aired game in an arena that's only half full. There is real fear. The executives are rushing around behind closed doors. Broadcasters are already getting ready for a big drop in viewers. People who paid a lot of money to have Clark feature games are now rethinking their deals because the truth is simple. One player was the WNBA's key to the future, but now she's hurt. And they put a lot of money on Caitlin Clark, but never did anything to keep her safe. But while the business world was in chaos, another storm was building online. This one showing something much worse than what was on the surface. People all over the world were shocked when they heard about Caitlin Clark's accident. Not in a good way. Or there were sad basketball fans, but there was also a nasty side of WNBA fans that showed their true colors. Instead of worry or support, some parts of social media were filled with joy. There are posts that make fun of Clark, tweets that praise her absence, and whole lines that make fun of a 23-year-old who just got hurt playing the game she loves. And let's be honest, this wasn't just a joke. Lots of it came from fans of teams that were competing with each other, like those of the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese. We don't hate Caitlin, we just hate her fans, they always say. They were now bragging about the fact that she was out in public. You could look at the quote tweets about the Indiana Fever's injury news to see for yourself. There were mocking jokes about how soft she was or how she was just pretending. It wasn't just a few bad takes. There were waves of mean comments. The most scary part comes next. This behavior is linked to how Clark has been treated on the court all season. Every game, she's been hit, shoved, and talked to rudely. Some fans have made their point clear now that she's hurt. Okay, she earned it. This isn't just a fight. A campaign of hate is being aimed at the league's most important player. It hurt more than just Clark that the NBA didn't do anything. It made this poison stronger. But it wasn't just her fans who let her down. Even more quiet has come from those in power. There was a voice that wasn't heard on social media while rival fans enjoyed Caitlin Clark's injury. That is, the EWNBA. There was no public support, no comment from Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, no warning to teams, no action taken to stop the rise in violence against their star player, nothing. The quiet says a lot, and it's been getting worse all season. Things have gotten worse for refs. They don't punish hard fouls. The other team can grab, push, and slam Clark to the ground without getting in trouble. The worst part is that the difference is very clear. Clark is called for light touch with defenders, like barely breathing on them, while the other team can play like it's street ball. Not only did that unfair treatment hurt the Fever points, but it also hurt the WNBA's main draw. And fans understand. People ask if the whistle would still be quiet, if it was Sabrina, Diana, or AA. Caitlin Clark's injury didn't just sideline a player, it exposed the WNBA's biggest failure. After months of taking cheap shots, ignored fouls, and relentless pressure, the league's only true superstar finally broke down. And now the entire system is crumbling. Ticket sales are tanking, ratings are dropping, and the Fever look lost without her. This wasn't a freak accident. It was months of neglect, weak officiating, and poor leadership. The WNBA bet everything on one player and failed to protect her. Now fans, sponsors, and players are all paying the price. Let's hope this wake-up call isn't too late.